Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, among other things, we're going to talk about why I should go to hell. I should go to hell, or the nether as they call it, because it has a lot of good resources, and I'm going to need those for my church that I plan to build. This might be the only Christian video on the internet in which you watch somebody try to go to hell as quickly as possible, so it's only fitting we talk about the thing that sends people to hell in real life: sin. In the last video, we talked about how God made everything good, and I left you on something of a cliffhanger. If God made everything good, why do babies die, and why do people get sick and go hungry? Why is there war? Did God make that? No, God didn't make those things. I did. Well, I as in humanity. In order to explain, we have to go back to everybody's great grandfather and grandmother, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were made by God and were made good. They had freedom in what is probably the closest thing to paradise as yet been on earth, the Garden of Eden, full of abundant plants and animals and fresh water, and all they had to do was not eat this one fruit from this one tree. And you know what they did? They ate it. How can I even explain what eating that fruit must have been like? Have you ever put hot cocoa powder into a cup of water? Of course not, because hot chocolate tastes way better with a cup of milk. But if you have, you notice that the water turns all chocolate powdery colored. Well, that's pretty much what happens when Adam and Eve ate that fruit. But instead of water, they were mixing God's good creation, and instead of cocoa powder, they mixed sin into it. And instead of making hot chocolate, everybody has to now die. And just like hot chocolate, there's literally nothing you can do to uncocify the water. Now, God's creation was good, but it got contaminated by sin. And just like water, even just a little bit of sin will dilute God's good creation. And that little sin can spread everywhere, including the children of sinners, and to their children, and to their children, and to their children. And now, sinners are making more sinners who are making more sins for sin making. And now here we are, sinners ourselves. But the consequences of sin are not just making more sinners. The good creation God made became corrupted. There are health problems, like my bad eyesight. There are wars. Some people murder people to death. Some people cheat on their girlfriends. Some people get viruses and diseases that kill them. And it's my fault, and I'm really sorry about that, because not only have I sinned and continue to sin, but a part of me from way back when was also an Adam. So in a sense, I sinned right alongside him, and now here we are, with wars and dead babies. Well, this might explain how we got to where we are, but you might not be satisfied. You might be hearing all of this and thinking, if God is good, why do bad things exist? Wouldn't a good God get rid of all the bad? God absolutely can get rid of all the bad, but that would mean getting rid of you, because you fall short of God's initial good design for humanity, to say nothing of God's own goodness. You are bad. Unsure if you're a bad person? Fortunately, God gave us 10 rules, or commandments, which can help us answer that question. Number 1, you shall have no other gods before me. So if you aren't worshiping or even trying to worship the ultimate God of the universe, you already failed. But even if you are a Christian, if you have doubted God or are uncertain about the future, you have failed too, because you're not putting your trust in the one true God. Number 2, you shall not make for yourself an idol. You failed this if you worship something other than God. You also failed this if you have put something in the place of God, even good things. If you have put getting a good night's rest, or eating healthy, or even helping others in front of worshiping God, you have made an idol for yourself. In the words of Tim Keller, you can make a good thing an ultimate thing, and that is idolatry. Number 3, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. If you have ever said OMG, but didn't actually say OMG, said the words, you failed. But you have also failed if you do evil things in God's name, which is what a lot of people have done throughout history. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. If you didn't go to church this last Sunday, aside from being sick or in prison, you failed. If you don't set aside time to worship and celebrate God, you failed. Number 5, honor your father and your mother. If you ever didn't follow a reasonable request of your parents, you failed. You might be thinking, my parents are big jerks, or my parents are really bad. And that might be true, because all people are bad, as we're finding out right now. But you still have an obligation to respect them, to honor them, and the dignity that they have, and follow their reasonable rules. This also applies to law and government. So if you've ever broken a reasonable law, you failed. Number 6, you shall not murder. Hey, finally something easy. Not quite. If you've ever hated somebody before, Jesus says that you've already committed murder in your heart. Also, if you did actually murder somebody, then you failed. Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. If you cheated on your significant other, you failed. If you have ever watched pornography, you have failed. If you have ever looked at an attractive person that wasn't your spouse and said, nice, you failed. Number 8, you shall not steal. If you have stolen something, you have failed. That includes leaving work early. That also includes taking advantage of people. It also includes gossiping, because you are stealing somebody's good name. Number 9, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. If you have told a lie, you have failed. Some people might be saying, what if I am telling a lie to save somebody's life? And there is something to be said about maintaining the spirit of the law, not following the letter of the law. The 9th commandment is mostly about bearing false witness. You shouldn't falsely accuse people or lie about what people have done. But you should still just not lie. Number 10, you shall not covet. If you were ever jealous of something somebody else had, you failed. Also, if you've ever been jealous about somebody's well-being because they've broken one of these rules, if you've ever wanted to break one of these rules before, you failed because you've desired something other than what you've had, just like Adam and Eve did when they bit into the fruit. They wanted to be more like God, so they violated God's very simple rule. You will agree that these 10 rules pretty much sum up how we ought to love God and love other people. We shouldn't hate people. We shouldn't steal from people. We shouldn't lie about people. So if you have broken one of these, and even in the slightest, most minor way, you are a sinner. What? You broke all 10? That must make you a pretty bad person. Well, you might be thinking to yourself, I might have done some things wrong in my life, but that doesn't make me a bad person. I still do more good than bad. Assuming that was true, could you stop lying or stealing or hating others or wanting things that you don't have for the rest of your life? Maybe. If you could stop doing those things, you won't. You wouldn't be a bad person as you understand it anymore. Maybe. But that wouldn't make you a good person either. Just not a bad person. Sort of like if I'm married to somebody and I don't cheat on them, that doesn't make me a good husband. That just makes me an obedient husband, right? A good husband would actually show love and affection to his wife. Well, what would it take to be a good person? What even is a good person? Somebody who gives to charity and helps grandmas mow their lawn? That's a start. That might make you a barely good person, barring all the bad things you're not going to do anymore for the rest of your life. But what about poor people? There are hungry people, and you can help them right now. Why aren't you? Why aren't you helping hungry people? If you were good, wouldn't you give them all your money? If you were good, wouldn't you sell them everything you own so you could have more money to give them? Wouldn't you give them your house? Wouldn't you give them your blood and your organs for all the surgeries they might need? Wouldn't you give your life out of love for a stranger? Because that is something you and I can agree a good person would do. They would sacrifice themselves for others. And yet, we aren't comfortable doing that. Never mind dying, we aren't even comfortable giving away things we own for the benefit of a stranger, let alone a friend. Even in a shallow sense like that, we aren't all that obsessed with being good. Nobody is obsessed with good like that. Not one. So Christians don't go around pointing fingers at bad people because we believe we are only bad people. We're hypocrites. We hurt people. We are dishonest, and we know it. We are damaged people, all of us. And because we are damaged, we damage the things around us. And the more damaged things get, the more damaged things and people damage cause. That's sin for you. It's killing us, literally and figuratively. Literally, in that war and hatred and disease exist, and figuratively, in that there is nothing we can do about it that's within us. We are dead. And what can dead things possibly do for themselves? Nothing. What's left for a dead person other than being buried or being burned. If only there was someone that wasn't dead. If only that someone could raise us up from the dead. If only that someone cared enough about us to do that because he was a human like us. If only that someone could do away with all of the wrong we know we have done because he was more than human. If only that someone could empower us to do good for him and others. If only I knew somebody like that, then I could spend my entire life giving thanks to him and introducing him to all of my friends. I wonder who it could be. Guess we'll just have to find out next time. Thank you for watching.